In this lesson, I will show you how you can extrude two or more 2D profiles that have been created in parallel planes to create a solid object. In the open document, I have already created 3 2D profiles in different heights. To achieve that, I created a rectangular profile on the top plane, and then I created 2 parallel planes 50 and 100 millimeters above the top plane respectively. Then I created a sketch on the first parallel plane and I drew a hexagon. Finally, I created a new sketch on the second parallel plane and I created a circle. Now that I have my profiles ready, I will move on to activate the Lofted Boss Base tool from the Features ribbon. Once the tool is active, the Property Manager palette activates automatically. With the Profiles field active, I will select the profiles. First I will select the rectangle, then the hexagon, and lastly the circle. At this point I should mention that the order in which I select the profiles plays a major role in the result. Once I have selected all 3 profiles, a preview of the solid object appears. Notice that there is a green dot on each profile. Those dots control the transition between the profiles. I will click on the hexagon's green dot and I will drag it to another corner of the hexagon. Notice the change in the preview. I will repeat the same procedure for the circle to achieve a smooth transition between the profiles. Once I have reached the desired result, I will click on the check mark to see the solid object. However, I can control the transition between the profiles even further. To do that, I will go to the Feature Manager design tree, I will click on the Loft feature, and I will select the Edit Feature option. Now I will expand the Start and Constraints options. I will expand the Start Constraint list and I will select the Normal to Profile option. Notice how the geometry at the bottom of the solid changes. In addition, a purple arrow appears in the drawing area and I can drag this arrow to control for how long the solid object will be tangent to the rectangular profile. Alternatively, I could have typed a certain value in the Start Tangent Length field. For example, I will type the number 2 and I will press Enter. Now if I click on the Reverse Tangent Direction button, the direction changes and so does the preview of the solid. I will restore the direction and I will go to the Draft Angle field, type the number 5 and press Enter. Notice how the preview changed. However, if I type an angle that is too large, there is a chance that the preview will disappear, which means that the solid object cannot be created. Now I will expand the End Constraint list and I will select the Normal to Profile option. I will drag the arrow of the circular profile downwards and notice how the preview changes. At this point, I will click on the checkmark and I will orbit the view to inspect the result. Next, I will go to the Feature Manager design tree, select the Loft feature and delete it. Then I will activate the Lofted Boss Base tool again and with the Profiles field active, I will select the profiles one by one. This time, I will go to the Start and Constraints options, expand the Start Constraint list and select the Direction Vector option. Then I will select the line that starts from the middle of the rectangle's side. In this way, I specified the direction which the extrusion will be tangent to. Alternatively, I can specify a value in the Start Tangent Length field. I can also add a draft angle if I want. In this example, I won't specify any of them, and I will move on to specify the end constraint. I will expand the list, and I will select the direction vector option there too. Then I will select the corresponding line, and I will click on the check mark to see the final result. I will orbit the view to inspect the final result. Notice that the top of the solid object is indeed tangent to the line I selected. At this point, I will show you how you can create a solid with the Lofted Boss Base tool by using guides. For the next example, I have already created 2 parallel ellipses and 2 splines. Now we'll activate the Lofted Boss Base tool from the Features ribbon. With the Profiles field active, I will select the ellipses one by one. Once I do, a preview of the solid object appears. Since I want to control further the way those profiles will be connected, I will specify a few guides to reach the desired result. So I will activate the Guide Curves field, and then I will select a spline. I will click on the checkmark that appears next to the cursor and notice how different the preview of the solid is. Next, I will select the other spline and I will click on the checkmark next to the cursor. Notice the final preview. At this point, I should mention that in the Lofted Boss Base tool there is the Thin Feature option, which works in the same way as it does in every extrusion tool. So I won't elaborate on this option in this lesson. Now I'm ready to click on the check mark to see the final result. So this is how the Lofted Boss Base tool works. Now you can use this tool in your own projects to create amazing solid objects.